Hello, Buddhas. Now, this morning I was actually trying to remember what I wanted to talk about, and I didn't write it down last night, so that's my bad. But I finally did remember after filming my last video, so I'm going to do it right now before I forget. Do it right away when you want to do a thing, or else you're going to forget. And that's why writing things down is the first step in doing them so that you don't forget. Ever notice that? How if you write something down, you'll remember it, whether you check the thing that you wrote down or not. Like I was making a grocery list the other night and I know exactly what's on it just because I took the time to actually write it down. Even on my phone, I know exactly what I wrote because I took the action in the real world. Okay? Action in the real world still matters. So many people who love me very, very much, if you're watching this, I know you love me. When I first started going through this journey, were telling me, keep your feet on the ground, make sure that you're still taking care of the bills and stuff because you have these wacky ideas. It was almost offensive because I'm an exceedingly, or I believe myself to be an exceedingly reliable person. I've never intentionally dropped the ball in that manner. And I can see why they have those concerns though. Because when it seems like our head is in the clouds and they're focusing on the head in the clouds aspect, they forget that we are infinite beings that can have our heads in the clouds and our feet on the ground. Okay, so I have stretched my comprehension of this universe. Now that little aside out, what I'd like to talk about is action in the three-dimensional world. This world that we're in, this, got camera and everything, and that's how I'm getting this out to you. This world is why we're here. Stop ignoring it, okay? We are infinite spiritual beings, gods, whatever you want to call it, just one of them ultimately, but kind of divided up into a beautiful fractal pattern. And we are choosing to be human beings for a temporary little stint of existence. We have a cat visitor. Hello. Meow. Also, this guy clearly chose to be a cat at one point. Oh, he's sitting on my lap now like a good little boy. So, assume that you have chosen to be here because it makes your life so much more pleasant, irregardless of what's actually happening in your life, okay? Doesn't matter how bad it is. If you decide that you're there on purpose to learn a lesson, suddenly you have all of the power. Think about that. But we're getting off topic again. What I'd actually like to say is to do the work. With so many of these spiritual practices, people say to do something for 30 days, to listen to this for 21 days, to write in your journal every single day, to read this cue card every day, to write this stuff down. Do it! Okay, it has taken me a year to realize that the actions that I take actually matter. So I have started to practice things on a repetitive basis because you get results by doing that. Your subconscious mind is what creates your reality. And you have all day to program it. We're sitting around here all day programming our subconscious minds. We go to bed and the subconscious mind delivers us our next day. It's pretty simple, actually. So if you're spending your entire day watching horror movies and being upset about the world, being a little goth, then you're gonna be a little goth for the rest of your life watching horror movies. If that's what you want, been there, then keep going down that rabbit hole, because I'm sure it's lovely. However, if you want to manifest the world of your dreams and to be king of the world, your world anyways, that's kind of what I want. I want to be in charge of what I'm up to. Then you have to see it, feel it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it before you get it. And that actually makes complete and utter sense. You have to plant the seeds, you have to do the work in order for the crops to grow. So many talkings and so many books and so many movies and lectures are saying this exact same thing. It's like hitting a nail over the head 1,000 times with the nails already embedded in the wood. Right now, I have realized this. And all I can say is try it. What have you got to lose? I'm gonna go over in another video all the things that I do on a semi-daily basis, because it's not about having one routine that you constantly sit to for the rest of your life. Okay? It's not what it's about. But try something. Try it for a month, try it for a couple months and see what happens. Because I can tell you that some of the things that I've been doing, and not even daily, but let's call it 80% daily, it builds momentum in a direction that I'm wanting to go. Okay? My world is a better place than it was a year ago. Period. Okay? And I'm saying that in September of 2020. And all of you know what has been going on in the world of 2020. But in my world, it's a better place. Because of how I see it from my point of view. That doesn't diminish anyone else's suffering, though. It just means that in my universe, I've taken control of what I'm up to. And I also think that this matters so very much that it's not actually taken seriously, right? You know when you're like going on a diet, which by the way, dieting doesn't work. You have to actually change your state and then you will be in a more physical form that you want. But when people are going on diets, they try it for a couple days and they're like, well, this doesn't work and I don't like it, okay? Well, that's because you're in a transitional stage. You are currently transitioning from state 1 to state 2, right? The space between them, this area here, my head, let's call it, okay, is providing resistance. You can't just go from state 1 to state 2 without having something pass through. I guess can't's not the right word. Human beings don't yet fully understand how to do that. Now, my goal in self-actualization is to figure out how to do that. However, it has come to my attention that I'm not doing it yet. So what I need to do is I need to actually go from state 1 to state 2. Through time, through linear action, through the three-dimensional world. And what do I mean by this? I mean, going to bed intentionally. I mean, reading literature that's actually beneficial to myself. I have a book now that I'm reading every single night before I go to bed, the same book. Okay, and I'm going to share that in another video. Having a workout practice, having eating practice, having intention behind your actions and what you're doing. So I realize that this is getting a little bit rambly, but ultimately what I'm trying to say is if you want any of these manifestation techniques to work, and if any of them involve time, right? Some of them are set it and forget it. And that works. But some of them are write it down on a piece of paper 10 times a day for 30 days and see what happens. Okay? If you write it on a piece of paper one day and then give up, you haven't done any of the actual work. The work is not done until all of the work is completed. If you get to 29 days, let's say, and you don't do it, well, you didn't do it for 30, so it doesn't count. Take the time, take the effort, take the intention to change your life, or don't bother, and be happy with your measly existence. I guess we are in a shit-talking mood. So before we say anything that gets us in trouble, I'm going to end it there. If you disagree in any way with what I've talked about, let me know down in the comments below. Also, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. It helps this out so that we can get it to all of the people. And until next time, peace.